Okay.
Hi, it's Lance Ulanoff, Editor-in-Chief of PCMag.com, and I'm about to test drive the GM's new Chevy Volt. It's an electric car. We're going to see how it does on New York City streets. So,
Foot on the brake.
Foot on the brake, hit the power button. Oh, that's pretty.
Change the mode for you.
Oh, that's an XM radio. Oh, it's got, oh, I see. Oh, that's kind of cool.
Keep going.
Yeah, 1 second. Let me. Well, that's kind of cool. But that's okay.
And something else that you.
Okay. So what is that showing me right there? That particular thing. Oh, that's
That is the
position of my.
You're looking at the green ball.
Right.
That helps you during your drive to make sure you're operating as efficiently and effectively as you can. And you'll see that becomes much more intuitive as we're driving, because that green ball will bounce up and down depending on your driving technique. And the optimal range is to keep it right in the center ball there with the leaves spinning around it.
Okay.
Turn the little rotary.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You'll see the display will change.
Oh, okay. So I'm turning, right now I'm turning this little selector, and that's actually pretty good because I can do that and watch. Let's see, there's how many different things on this?
5.
5. So we've got tutorial mode. This is the number of miles driven,
It's for trip A.
Okay, trip A, number of gallons used, average miles per gallon 41.9, and this is trip B, 90% remaining, oil life, that's always good to know. Tire pressure, always nice to know. I don't have any vehicle messages, that's good. Unit US, is that metric versus? All right, we're driving through the streets of New York in the new GM Chevy Volt. My passengers are explaining the car. Oh, be quiet. Lovely driving New York City. They're explaining the car. They're explaining this display. Important to know about this display that when I'm pressing the gas pedal, it's taking electrical energy, out of the energy stacks. And you actually see the sort of the animated graphic. If I'm coasting, my wheels are actually delivering energy back to trying to charge up the batteries. And then you guys were explaining, and I wanted to be clear, maybe we can sort of run through the numbers. It takes 4 hours to charge the car overnight. You said it's
on 240.
On 240, which is like a dryer, right? That's like running, right? A clothing dryer. It's a 4.6 liter engine. Is that what you said?
1.4.
1.4 liter engine, and the size of the gas tank you said
9.6 gallon.
Okay, 9.6 gallon. And if you're all charged up and you have everything there, you can drive for
about 350 miles.
What is that? Let's
range.
see.
It's largely the same range that you get in an average car.
But at some point, the juice is going to run down and the generator's going to kick in.
You're going to go into you consume the charge depleting mode, and then we go into a charge sustain mode.
Will you hear that come on? Will you hear your generator, the sort of the engine start running to start charging it up?
When you're driving down the road and that transition happens, unless you're looking at that screen, most drivers will not even notice it. There can be some ambient noise from that engine, when you get to the quieter spots, and if you don't have the radio on, very low level, but you can hear. But the transition, no sensory feeling about that at all. You continue driving, same speed, no deterioration in what's going on.
You guys have been developing this since 2006, I believe,
Correct.
Right? And this is a sort of a one-of-a-kind car. They can drive fully on electricity, and by the way, it has a special name, but I wanted to make sure I got right, because you don't really call it an electric car, you call it...
What's important about the Volt, it's an electric vehicle with extended range. Those 3 words are hugely important. We talk about the Nissan, which is pure electric. We'll go about 100 miles, and then you're going to have to stop and charge that, as I understand it, for about 10 hours. With the Volt, you can go and you'll get 25 to 50 miles of range, depending on weather conditions, your driving technique. And then you're going to seamlessly transition over to the gasoline engine, providing electricity to further propel the vehicle.
Developing it for
450
4
miles.
years. It's new kind of technology for cars, which takes usually new smarts to work with the car and make sure it's doing the right thing. What kinds of computing technology, software and hardware, or at least can you tell me, did you develop new things for the Volt to make it work the way it does?
And I'm not the best person to answer this question for you, but there are a cast of thousands of really, really smart people that have been working on all of the nuances that make the Volt. From the assembly plant standpoint, there's 33 different control modules that have to talk to one another in this vehicle to make it perform the way that it does. Somebody asked me the other day how many lines of code were written to do that, and I don't have that answer. Somebody does, but I can't give that.
Now you don't know what's inside. Is it Intel inside? Is it AMD inside? Does anyone know?
I'm sure
Wise, it feels good. I'm not, obviously I don't review cars, but I've driven enough of them in my lifetime. It's responsive. It's very smooth. You don't when you're pressing down the gas pedal, feel like the torque of the engine so much, but you feel that the car is peppy, like it's going to go. There's no question of that. It's you don't feel like you're driving, say, a giant iPod, because like, oh, it's all electric and it doesn't no moving parts. You still feel the consistent sort of car feeling, and the seats feel great, steering feels good. So if I knew how to review cars, that would all mean something. But for an average user like me, it feels good, and also just the view and stuff, where everything is, that looks good too. Sometimes with electric cars, the different ones, the different experimental ones we've heard about, the power can lack. How does this guy do on like 0 to 60? And is it? Ooh, yeah, of course. Right in the blind spot.
Yeah. What's our current code on 0 to 60?
8.8 seconds.
But you could really feel that because you've got an instantaneous torque curve. And if we had any kind of runway in here, we could have you feel that.
Well, only when I'm trying to escape accidents, you're going to have any kind of runway.
And you did that very elegantly.
Yes, thank you. Well, he was driving right in my blind spot, but in New York City, they're all in your blind spot.
And I had it all on camera.
Yeah, that's it. I almost crashed the Chevy Volt. Yay for me.